Okay, this, I just love this. I mean, this is from the Washington Post. Their whole newsroom is full of this. There's such a sense. I'm moving on to the journal. That was the business part. This is the journalism part. Yeah, just such a sense of the importance of journalism across these places. They really, this slide is actually, I just wanted to, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I can't possibly go through. So this is a random collection of things that I thought were really interesting that came up. So a lot of it's from Pew Research Center, who does research into media and religion and so on in the States. So people are cutting the cable, so TV, you know, subscription models around TV are dying, but TV continues to be strong as a vehicle for news. So in the States, still 50% of people are getting their, 7% of people are getting their news from television. And there was a sense that this was actually quite surprising. They thought that that thing was going to go faster, but it's not. In the States, it's not going as fast as they thought. This other one is also, a second one is that news video online is being taken up more slowly than they'd expected. There's no clear explanations, but as a pattern, that's what they've seen there. These things, engagement can expand for longer form stories on mobile. So they always thought that on mobile you really just had to be really short, but they found that people will engage for longer periods with a longer form piece of journalism. The amount of time you spend on a story correlates to the views. Obviously that's not always the case, but across when they average it out, they're saying that more time equals more people. And then they also talked about dedicating a whole team to a story. I just wanted to show you one quick example of, let me just see where we are for time. No, I'm not going to show this to you because I don't want to be too long, but this thing is around barriers. It came out just as Trump was elected, and it was about building walls around the world. And they basically they decided that this whole build a wall thing was going to be a major talking point in the States. So they took 4 journalists, 1 developer, 1 designer, and they dedicated 2 months to a particular story. So they pulled them out of everything else. So they did a similar thing with Obama. They're all doing these things with knowing that Obama was going to go. It's like a reflection on 8 years of Obama. So they take a whole team of people out. They build it all for mobile. And then they talk about they talk about significant pieces of content. Podcasting is growing. National Public Radio, they developed this. I don't know if you know NPR One. It's worth it if any of you like podcasting. It's kind of taken NPR into a whole new level. They've now at 33 minutes per session they have. So that's serious engagement, and they've seen that in the last 12 months, where suddenly the amount of time that people are spending, because it's a nice cool little app that's and the audience is getting younger. Anyway, that was another whole thing. AMP, does everyone know about AMP? I just wondered, some of the ad people would probably know about AMP. Anyway, it's worth talking about afterwards. It's about the speed at which your content loads. Google talked a lot about it. It's an open source project between tech companies and publishers. And essentially, it's depending on what your CMS is. It's about whether you can plug it in or not, and they work with you on getting content and ads to load at high speed. Okay, this we know, content flourishes in digital. The amount of time you spend on a story correlates to the amount of views. The original stories are 40% more likely to get more engagement. This is in the New York Times. You can see this is the boss. This is the Arthur Salzberger. So it's a family-owned business. He's just taken over from his dad. And he's, do you remember the innovation report? About 2 years ago, New York Times came out with this thing called the innovation report, which was meant to be very groundbreaking in terms of media. So this is him now 2 years later. Snowfall, he's the guy who was behind New York Times' Snowfall, which was this kind of rich, interactive media piece of journalism that was quite groundbreaking at the time, but very expensive. So his thing was, yeah, so they sat on these high stools and they made you feel like you were really, they were teaching you. So they had certainly had this, the New York Times certainly has this feel to them. What Arthur Salzberger said was, what is changing is a process that was linked to an industrial printing process. What is not changing is original expert boots on the ground journalism. This is what we do. The long game is to think about the story. So there was a lot of that, and I say even from their newspapers, the print newspapers, just to read, to go and look at those, and they haven't run away from their newspapers. They are still such quality. I mean, stories like Wall Street Journal. I'm not a reader of the Wall Street. I'm not a business reader, but you read the first paragraph and you just want to read more. It's just so well thought through, and that's the, you know, that is their big thing, is that we need to stop obsessing about that we're still doing the same thing. His other big quote was, the notion that we're moving towards a fixed end state is wrong. There's no final flexibility, was his whole thing.